Arizona looks empty. Red rock, dry heat, endless desert stretching toward the horizon. But that emptiness is the trick, because underneath every rock, inside every crack in the sand, and coiled beneath the shade of a saguaro cactus, something is watching. Park rangers who patrol these trails every single day carry antivenom kits, satellite radios, and a strict rule drilled into every new hire. Never reach into a hole, never lift a rock with your bare hands, and never assume the desert is as still as it looks. Because Arizona isn't just hot. It's home to some of the most dangerous, most misunderstood, and most quietly lethal animals in North America. Today we're counting down 12 of them, starting with a snake that rangers say has killed more hikers in the Southwest than any other single animal. Entry 12, Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. At the bottom of our list is the animal most people picture when they think dangerous Arizona wildlife. And for good reason. The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake is the single largest venomous snake in the American Southwest, capable of growing over 5 feet long and delivering a bite that injects enough hemotoxic venom to destroy tissue, disrupt blood clotting, and cause organ damage within hours if untreated. What makes this snake especially dangerous isn't just its size, it's its temperament. Unlike many rattlesnakes that retreat at the first sign of a human, the Western Diamondback is known to stand its ground, coiling and rattling as a final warning before striking. Rangers in southern Arizona report dozens of encounters every season, most occurring not on remote trails but disturbingly close to campsites and parking areas, where the snakes seek out shade during the hottest parts of the day. In 2015, a hiker near Saguaro National Park stepped over a low rock ledge without checking the shadow beneath it. A classic mistake. The resulting bite required over 20 vials of antivenom and a week-long hospital stay. Doctors later said a delay of even 30 more minutes could have cost him his leg. The Western Diamondback earns its spot on this list because of sheer numbers. It's responsible for more venomous snake bites in Arizona than any other species combined. But it's not even the most toxic rattler in the state. That title belongs to something further up this list. Entry 11. Arizona Bark Scorpion. Small enough to hide inside a shoe, light enough to climb a wall, and armed with venom potent enough to send a grown adult into muscle spasms. The Arizona bark scorpion is the most venomous scorpion in North America, and it's disturbingly common in and around human homes. Unlike most scorpions, which stay strictly ground level, bark scorpions climb. They're found in trees, inside walls, under bark, hence the name, and frequently inside houses, especially in the crevices around plumbing and door frames. Rangers and pest control experts in Phoenix and Tucson report that bark scorpion stings spike dramatically every summer. And while most healthy adults survive with intense pain, numbness, and difficulty breathing, the sting can be fatal for young children and the elderly without prompt medical treatment. The venom works by overstimulating the nervous system, which is why victims often describe the sensation as electric. A shooting, burning pain that radiates from the sting site and can cause uncontrollable muscle twitching for hours. Emergency rooms across the state stock scorpion antivenom specifically because of how frequently this species is encountered. What makes bark scorpions especially unsettling is how well they hide. They're active almost exclusively at night, and during the day they wedge themselves into tiny gaps, which is exactly why rangers warn campers to always shake out boots, sleeping bags, and clothing before use in scorpion country. Entry 10. Gila Monster. Slow-moving, thick-bodied, and covered in strikingly beautiful black and orange beaded skin, the Gila Monster looks almost too sluggish to be dangerous. That assumption has put more than one careless hiker in the hospital. The Gila Monster is one of only 2 venomous lizards on Earth, and unlike a snake that injects venom in a single quick strike, the Gila Monster delivers its venom through a prolonged, grinding bite, clamping down and chewing to work the toxin deeper into the wound. Once it bites, it often doesn't let go, sometimes requiring the animal to be physically pried off. Its venom isn't typically lethal to healthy adults, but it causes severe pain, dramatic swelling, and a sharp drop in blood pressure that can lead to fainting. Rangers in protected desert areas treat every Gila Monster sighting with real caution, not because attacks are common, but because the species is a federally protected animal, meaning any bite incident, even a minor one, triggers a wildlife investigation. Because Gila monsters move so slowly and spend up to 95% of their life underground or sheltered in burrows. Most bites happen when people try to handle or photograph one up close, mistaking its lethargic pace for harmlessness. Rangers have a blunt saying for tourists who ask to hold one. It's not slow because it's tired. It's slow because it doesn't need to be fast. Entry 9. Africanized honeybees. Arizona was one of the first U.S. states to be colonized by Africanized honeybees, commonly known as killer bees, after they spread north from South America through Mexico in the late 20th century. Today, they're firmly established across the state, and they've fundamentally changed how rangers respond to reports of beehives near trails. The danger with Africanized bees isn't their sting, which is no more potent than irregular honeybees. It's their behavior. These bees defend their colonies with extreme aggression, in far greater numbers, and will chase a perceived threat for hundreds of yards, sometimes for a quarter mile or more. While a European honey bee colony might send a handful of defenders after a disturbance, an Africanized colony can send hundreds. There have been multiple documented deaths in Arizona from Africanized bee swarm attacks, most involving people who accidentally disturbed a hive while hiking, gardening, or doing yard work, and were unable to outrun the swarm. Rangers now train specifically on bee attack protocol, which includes running in a straight line, covering your face, and never jumping into water, since bees will simply wait at the surface. What makes this entry especially unsettling is how ordinary the encounters can be. Unlike a rattlesnake bite or a scorpion sting, which usually involves direct contact with the animal, a bee attack can start the moment you walk too close to a hollow tree or an old wall cavity. No touching required. Entry 8. Black widow spider. The black widow's reputation precedes it. The glossy black body, the unmistakable red hourglass marking. But few people realize just how common this spider actually is across Arizona. They thrive in dry, undisturbed spaces. Woodpiles, sheds, rock crevices, and the undersides of outdoor furniture. The black widow's venom is a neurotoxin roughly 15 times more potent than a rattlesnake's, ounce for ounce. What saves most victims is the tiny amount actually injected during a bite. Still, a black widow bite triggers a condition called latrodectism, a wave of muscle rigidity, cramping, nausea, and intense abdominal pain that can be mistaken for appendicitis in emergency rooms. Rangers who maintain trail infrastructure, outhouses, storage sheds, signposts report black widow encounters as one of the most consistent hazards of the job, precisely because the spiders build webs in exactly the kind of dark, sheltered nooks that human structures create. Most bites happen not out in the open desert, but when someone reaches blindly into a space a black widow has already claimed. Severe reactions are more likely in children, the elderly, and anyone with an existing heart condition, which is why any suspected black widow bite is treated as a medical emergency in the state, even though fatalities are now rare thanks to modern antivenom. Entry 7. Brown recluse spider. Unlike the black widow, the brown recluse doesn't announce itself with bold coloring. It's small, plain brown, and marked with a faint violin-shaped pattern that's easy to miss. That plainness is part of what makes it dangerous. Most people don't recognize a brown recluse until after they've already been bitten. The venom of a brown recluse is cytotoxic, meaning it destroys skin and tissue at the bite site rather than attacking the nervous system. In a subset of cases, the bite develops into a slow-spreading ulcer called necrotic arachnidism, a wound that can take months to heal and, in rare severe cases, requires surgical removal of dead tissue. True to its name, the recluse avoids confrontation entirely. It hides in dry, dark, undisturbed areas, woodpiles, storage boxes, the folds of clothing left on the floor, and bites almost exclusively when it's accidentally pressed against skin, such as when someone puts on a shoe or shirt it has crawled into overnight. Rangers who staff backcountry cabins and equipment sheds in Arizona treat brown recluse sightings seriously, not because the spider is aggressive, but because its bite is so often misdiagnosed early. By the time the tissue damage becomes visible, days may have already passed. Entry 6. Mountain lion. Also known as the cougar or puma, the mountain lion is Arizona's largest apex predator, and it's built for exactly one purpose: silent, close-range ambush. An adult mountain lion can weigh up to 200 pounds, leap 15 feet vertically, and take down prey many times its own size, all without making a sound until the final second. Mountain lion attacks on humans in Arizona are rare, but they happen, and rangers treat every confirmed sighting near a trail as a serious safety event, sometimes closing entire sections of parkland until the animal has moved on. What makes mountain lions particularly unsettling is that a person can walk within yards of one and never know it. These cats rely on dense brush, rock outcroppings, and complete stillness to stay hidden, only revealing themselves in the instant they choose to attack. Most recorded incidents involve solo hikers or runners, particularly at dawn or dusk when mountain lions are most active, and particularly involving people who unknowingly triggered a predatory response by running, which mimics the fleeing behavior of prey. Rangers train visitors to do the opposite of instinct if a mountain lion is spotted. Stand tall, make noise, and never turn your back. Arizona's mountain lion population has adapted well to the state's rugged canyon terrain, which means as human development pushes further into the backcountry, encounters, while still statistically rare, are becoming more frequent every year. Entry 5. Javelina. The javelina doesn't look like a top-tier threat. It resembles a small, bristly wild pig, usually seen trotting in a family group through suburban desert neighborhoods. But rangers and wildlife officials rank javelina encounters among the most common animal-related injuries reported in Arizona's urban desert interface, and for a very specific reason. They travel in groups, and they defend each other. A javelina herd, called a squadron, can include a dozen or more animals, and when one member feels threatened, often by a dog or by a person who gets between it and its young, the entire group can respond aggressively at once. Javelinas are equipped with sharp, tusk-like canine teeth capable of inflicting deep lacerations, and unlike most wild animals, they don't always retreat after the first confrontation. Because javelinas have adapted so successfully to life alongside humans, often foraging in yards, golf courses, and neighborhood green spaces, many people mistakenly treat them like harmless wildlife photo opportunities. Rangers say this is exactly the mistake that leads to bites. Getting too close, or worse, letting a dog approach a squadron that has piglets nearby. Despite their unassuming appearance, javelina-related injuries are reported to Arizona wildlife officials every single year, which is why parks post explicit warning signage in areas with known squadrons, urging visitors to keep a minimum distance and never feed them. Entry 4. Tarantula hawk wasp. If insect stings were ranked purely on pain, this next animal would sit near the very top of the entire list, human or animal. The tarantula hawk wasp is one of the largest wasps in North America, with a sting rated among the most painful of any insect on Earth on the Schmidt Sting Pain Index, a scale created specifically to measure and compare insect sting intensity. True to its name, the tarantula hawk hunts tarantulas, paralyzing the much larger spider with a single sting, then dragging it into a burrow where the wasp lays a single egg on the still-living spider's body. When the larva hatches, it consumes the paralyzed tarantula slowly, keeping it alive as long as possible as a food source. For humans, a sting from this wasp isn't life-threatening in the vast majority of cases, but the pain has been described by entomologists as instantly incapacitating, intense enough that the recommended first response isn't to seek treatment, but simply to lie down, since the pain can be disorienting enough to cause a fall. Rangers who work in Arizona's grassland and desert scrub regions know to give these wasps a wide berth, particularly around late summer when tarantula hawk activity peaks. Fortunately, tarantula hawks are not aggressive toward humans and rarely sting unless directly handled or stepped on. But their sheer size, up to 2 inches long with a metallic blue-black body and bright orange wings, makes them impossible to miss once you know what you're looking at. Entry 3. Giant desert centipede. Growing up to 8 inches long, the giant desert centipede is one of the largest centipedes in North America. A fast-moving, aggressive predator equipped with venomous claws called forcipules instead of true jaws, located just behind its head. Unlike most of the animals on this list, which prefer to avoid human contact, the giant desert centipede is an active, opportunistic hunter that will strike readily if disturbed or cornered. Its venom is designed to rapidly subdue prey like small lizards, rodents, and insects, and in humans it causes intense, immediate pain at the bite site, along with swelling and, in some cases, tissue discoloration lasting several days. Rangers who work night shifts in Arizona's desert campgrounds report that most centipede encounters happen after dark, when the animal is most active, often found inside tents, shoes, or sleeping bags that have been left unzipped. Its speed is part of what makes it dangerous to handle. Unlike a scorpion, which can be seen and avoided, a giant desert centipede can move in a sudden burst that catches people off guard. While centipede bites are rarely medically dangerous for healthy adults, the sheer intensity of the pain, often compared to a hot needle driven directly into the skin, combined with the animal's speed and willingness to bite defensively, earns it a firm spot in the upper half of this list. Entry 2. Mojave Rattlesnake. If the western diamondback is the most commonly encountered dangerous snake in Arizona, the Mojave rattlesnake is the one rangers fear most. Nicknamed the Mojave Green for its subtle olive green coloring, this rattlesnake possesses a venom unlike almost any other pit viper in North America. A dual-action toxin that combines the tissue-destroying properties of typical rattlesnake venom with a powerful neurotoxin that can cause respiratory failure. This neurotoxic component is what sets the Mojave rattlesnake apart, and it's part of why bites from this species are treated as a distinct medical emergency, sometimes requiring different antivenom protocols than a standard rattlesnake bite. Victims may not feel the full severity of a Mojave bite immediately, since the neurotoxic effects, blurred vision, difficulty swallowing, muscle weakness, can take hours to fully develop, creating a dangerous window where someone might underestimate the bite's seriousness and delay seeking treatment. Adding to the danger, Mojave rattlesnakes can be difficult to visually distinguish from other rattlesnake species in the field, particularly for anyone without wildlife training. Rangers are taught to treat any rattlesnake bite in known Mojave territory, much of central and southern Arizona, as a potential dual venom emergency until proven otherwise. Herpetologists studying the species have also noted that Mojave rattlesnakes can be more defensive than other rattlesnakes when encountered, sometimes striking with less provocation, which combined with the unpredictable severity of their venom, makes this one of the two most dangerous animals a hiker can cross paths with in the entire state. Entry 1. Africanized bees versus kissing bug. The final warning. Before we reveal the single most dangerous animal on this list, there's one creature that deserves special mention, not because of venom, but because of what it silently transmits. The kissing bug, found throughout southern Arizona, feeds on blood at night, often biting people near the mouth while they sleep, which is how it earned its unsettling name. The real danger isn't the bite itself, which is usually painless. It's what can follow. Kissing bugs can carry a parasite responsible for Chagas disease, a condition that can silently damage the heart over years or even decades if untreated. Public health officials in Arizona have flagged the kissing bug as an emerging concern precisely because its threat isn't immediate. It's the kind of danger you might not even know you're carrying. But for our number one spot, we're going with the animal that combines the widest range, the highest bite frequency, and the most unpredictable venom profile in the entire state. The Mojave rattlesnake edging out even the Diamondback for the top position. Its dual-action venom, its wide habitat across Arizona's most heavily hiked regions, and the genuine diagnostic difficulty it presents even to experienced rangers make it the animal most likely to catch an unprepared hiker completely off guard. 12 animals. 12 reasons why even the people whose entire job is protecting these lands never let their guard down. From a lizard that bites and doesn't let go, to a wasp with a sting that can drop a grown adult to the ground, to a snake whose venom-experienced rangers still treat with extra caution. Arizona's desert isn't empty. It's just quiet right up until it isn't. So here's the question. Which one of these 12 would scare you the most if you crossed paths with it on a trail? Let us know in the comments below. And if this kept you on the edge of your seat, subscribe, because next time we're heading to a state where the danger doesn't just hide in the sand. It hides in the water.